Welcome everybody to another episode of Pillow Talk. My name is Marcus.
And I'm Nina.
And today we're bringing back some Reddit stories.
Yes, sir. Today I just felt like giggle goggling with you.
Yeah, we're doing some
stories.
Some shits and gigs.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a podcast, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I listen to them all the time. They're from the UK. They're super funny. I forgot. You know those birds, the seagulls from... The seagulls from Finding Nemo?
Yeah, the ones
Australian
that say Mike.
sounding. That's what they sound like.
Oh my gosh. Are you saying that everybody from the UK sounds like everybody from Australia?
No, of course not.
Generalizing them?
No, I'm not. They got that chit-chatty, yappy voice.
That's even worse of an insult.
Okay, I know we're gonna cut it out.
Maybe you should stop while you're ahead.
They just are silly.
Okay.
Yeah, they're silly people.
Goose.
Yes. Okay, so before we dive in the Reddit stories, I saw this on Instagram and I wanted to know your thoughts about this.
Okay. Something new?
I mentioned it, but I just wanted to see what your opinion was. So, this is the headline. A 99-year-old man divorced his 96-year-old wife after 77 years of marriage because he discovered an affair she had in the 1940s. And the story goes, back in 2011, just before the holiday season, a tale unfolded about Antonio, a 99-year-old man from Italy. He chose to call it quits on his marriage of 77 years. Antonio stumbled upon some old, tender letters from a past lover of his wife, Rosa. These letters have been stashed away since the 1940s. When confronted, Rosa admitted to an affair she had more than 6 decades ago. This revelation prompted Antonio to file for divorce, marking the end of their long-lasting union.
Oh no, what the happened?
No. So they had met in the 1930s. They have 5 children, a dozen grandchildren, and even a great-grandchild. And their story has now made it headlines as the oldest couple to want to seek a divorce.
Wow. Wait, a dozen grandchildren and even a grandchild?
Mm-hmm. They have 5 children, a dozen grandchildren, and a great-grandchild.
Oh, and a great-grandchild. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of people in the comments were saying it was polarizing. People were like, yeah, you go get it. Like, you divorced her cheating ass. And then some people are also saying they had a good 77 years and something that happened 10 years into the relationship, he just wanted to call it quits. So I just wanted to know what your thought was.
I feel like Antonio maybe got his emotions got the best of him, because that's one of the situations where if you didn't know about it,
wouldn't have hurt you,
your
right?
life would have just been normal. And not to say that I wish anything bad upon him, but my guy, you're 99. I think just live out the rest of your life and just pretend as if you never found those.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Italian culture is like when you find a lover, it's like very passionate and you're very loyal to this person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when he thinks this way, it must have hurt him very deeply.
I bet. It could be that there is a really deep, interesting, I don't know, like romance film that could be made out of it. But like it kind of sounds like straight out of a movie, like a plot, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if she was with you for 77 years and you had all this time together and you never thought anything otherwise, why would you think that there would be a difference, you know?
I think I'm trying to think
6 decades later.
Yeah. I try to think about it myself too. Like if we were 99 and like about to go 100, okay? I found out that maybe 10 years into our marriage, you cheated on me. I would have some Antonio tendencies.
Here's the way that I would see it. I feel like I would love you enough to just stay because I loved you for 77 years. I could love you for a few more just to enjoy the rest of my life. You know, I bet you that legally this divorce may last longer than he has to live.
Oh no.
Like no offense to him, but what is that even worth it?
I think I'm leaning toward the other side of the argument. I feel if I was Antonio, if I was 99 years old and I found out this happened, my mindset, I would probably going back and forth between like, do I just want to stick to this person because I don't know, I could croak any day? Or my other way of viewing it would be if I was 30 years younger, would I still want to be with this person had I known that? And the answer is no.
Okay,
so
hold on.
If I was 99, I would still apply that same philosophy.
That's, in my opinion, that's a terrible way of thinking about it. Okay. Do I want to live the rest of my life lonely and hateful? Or do I just want to let this go and just enjoy the time that I have? Like, if it doesn't matter to me if it was 3 years or 30 years, right? The truth is that was in the past.
Yeah.
You know, her lover could be dead. Like, what's the point of just being like, yeah, let's get a divorce?
I have a feeling Antonio and I are both very passionate lovers.
Okay.
So if I had, let's say I had like 3 years left to live, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I would want to spend the 3 years of left of my life being free and happy and just not of the thought that this had happened and it's like gonna haunt me every once in a while during those 3 years. I look at you.
Okay, I see. So you're saying that like that would be a reminder.
Yeah, I just want no regrets.
That's weird. I feel like it's the opposite for me. I feel like if I'd known, maybe it's me saying something that I haven't had happen. Obviously, like I'm not speaking from experience, but I wouldn't look at it as if, oh, every day I look at you, I see the moment that I found out. I would think of it as if, oh, okay, if it happened in the past and I've only got, you know, so much left of time to live. Why am I going to spend it hating on something that I didn't know about for this many years? If I didn't know about it up until this point, like, what's the point? Like, what difference does it make that I found out about it?
Right. I think I'm of the person that if I found out and I try to get over it, but in my heart, I cannot find resolution with those feelings, I would rather have you gone than like have to see you and pretend and just hold on to you because I'm afraid of dying alone.
I see.
So you do you, Antonio. You want to see his face?
Sure.
He's so upset in this photo. Rosa is very sad. So this is Rosa.
Oh.
And this is Antonio.
It's the nonna. Damn. He's
upset.
He's very upset.
He's upset. But he looks good for 99.
I mean, they both look good for
Yeah.
90-plus-year-old people. All right, what's next?
Next is a Reddit story. I just have one post. And then Marcus also has one post, and we're just going to share it with each other. So this post comes from r/relationship advice. The headline is, my 37 male wife, 35 female, punched a woman in the face in public in front of our daughter, 6-year-old female.
Wow.
Okay, when I read the headline, I had already formed an opinion, but then when I read the description, holy shit.
I don't think I formed an opinion, so hold on. Can
Okay.
you repeat that again? Wife, this is a family.
Yes.
Dude that punched another person.
Yeah.
Or punched the kid.
No.
Oh, okay, punched.
So the husband is the 37-year-old male. The wife is a 35-year-old female. The daughter is a 6-year-old female. So the wife punched another woman in the face in public in front of their daughter. He writes, I don't know how to feel about this. My wife is 8 months pregnant, and last night we went to a restaurant with our daughter that was surprisingly crowded for a weeknight. We were waiting for our table when my wife grabbed my arm and said, that woman over there keeps staring at us. I told her not to think too much into it as she has a tendency to point out creepy people a lot. And when he says creepy, he put creepy in quotation. We got to our table, and while we were waiting for our food, the woman she pointed to came up to us and asked if she could touch my wife's belly. My wife said, I'd rather you not. But the woman touched her anyways, and my wife stood up. Oh my God, I'm getting nervous.
Tense.
Yeah, because I'm imagining this right now, and it's so random. The woman looked at our daughter and said, what a beautiful little girl you have, and tried to pick her up by the armpits. My wife then pushed the woman back and punched her square in the face. I took her arm and got my daughter, and we got out of there. I asked my wife why she did that, and she said, are you kidding? A complete stranger tried to pick up our daughter. I told her she overreacted and that much force was not necessary. I had some reservations about letting her go out in public while pregnant, but I don't think I can at all now. Not that if she's going to act like this. Wow.
Whoa.
I don't really know what to do. She still seems to think she did nothing wrong. I have never acted like this in public, and neither has she. The fact that she is likely traumatized our daughter by displaying such violence in front of her is something that's making me look at her slightly different. What should I say to her?
What thread is this under?
r/relationship advice.
Wow, that's a good one.
Can I read the top comment?
Yeah,
because I totally agree with the top comment. The top comment says, your wife was defending herself against a total stranger who touched her without permission and after being told not to, who then proceeded to try to pick up your kid. Are you embarrassed by your wife's actions or because you did nothing to protect your family?
Yeah. I could see both sides of it, okay? Here's one side. I think that when you're pregnant, you probably biologically have a lot of hormones going that make you a very protective, like, mama bear.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from that position, I could justify it because you're probably heightened in your instincts. You're probably wanting to just keep to yourself. And I think it's a very natural feeling to be like, don't touch me or my kids.
Yeah.
From a mom's perspective, a lot stronger than from a dad's. Where I think it's justified, I think the punching part is a little
That was kind of crazy. That was a little crazy.
There's a line to where you can that you can go over, and I think physically harming another person, that's assault. I mean, that's a problem. I don't think she should have done that.
I think pushing her was enough.
Yeah, I think pushing her was enough. I think because she did give a verbal, don't do that. A
verbal warning, yeah.
And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh yeah, this person deserved it because like you come up to me and my family, I'll show you more than just a punch. You know?
It takes a lot of guts to punch a random stranger.
Yeah, which is why I think that there's more at play than just...
what he says.
Not to say that she's not thinking like logically. I just think that like her hormones probably kicked in and was just like, you got to defend your family.
I think
her fight or flight was probably there.
Yeah. I think for women, I feel like we're always in a constant state of danger. Like,
well, yes, but I almost never see women resort to attacking.
Yeah, but so think about it like this, okay? Most women, I'm only speaking for myself.
Right.
I watch a lot of true crime.
Mm-hmm.
So I never want to be caught in a situation where I'm just not aware of the social situation and am possibly taken advantage of or played stupid and have my kid get hurt or something like that. That is really scary for me, and it applies to all situations out in public. I cannot fully relax because I'm always looking out for something. So the fact that this restaurant was really crowded for a weeknight, and of all people, that woman was staring at her and their family. If I was that type of person, I would be a little nervous. I'd be like, why are you staring at us?
I agree. I think what she did was right in terms of speaking up about it. And then I don't think there's anything wrong with her acting on that action. I just think that the force that she used was a little too much. And I do think that it's a poor display of how you should teach your daughter to act.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it sets a really good example for the daughter that if she doesn't want anybody to touch her, she shouldn't let them touch her.
Yeah.
And for the dad, I could understandably see why this is an embarrassing situation. Because obviously, if it's just a random person who meant good intentions and was like, oh, you got a cute kid, maybe they just didn't know. Maybe they were drunk.
Oh.
You know, you just never know these things, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you should always be on guard, but at the same time, maybe don't assume the worst, and then like, don't be the person who strikes first. That's my point.
I think what really would scare me too is the fact that she tried to pick up the daughter.
I agree with that, but here's what I'm thinking of. In what world would a person with bad intentions, especially a woman, approach an entire family single-handedly and do something harmful?
I've seen some crazy true crime.
I mean, I'm sure. You know? I mean, yeah, but like, if you just think about that, unless there was a whole sting operation that this like cartel was holding up,
right?
That's so unlikely, you know. So I just think that if we would piece it out, it just doesn't quite make sense, like why this person would come up and just randomly pick up the daughter in the first place. I agree with that,
right?
But maybe don't punch first.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn because I agree that the punching in the face is kind of crazy. Maybe it's a little excessive.
Maybe give a second shove.
Yeah.
And then a second verbal warning.
I think a shove and like standing in between the lady and the daughter is justified. But I have seen some true crime where, for example, there's this grandpa in Japan. He's walking around the street market with his granddaughter. Granddaughter's like 4 or 5. And this random lady comes up and pushes over the grandpa. And she's like, oh my gosh, he just kidnapped my daughter. He just took her away from me, and now he's pretending to be like her grandpa or whatever. And all of these citizens come out and like hold him down, and she runs off with the girl.
Okay.
And that's like
so cool, but no. Like, what I'm trying to say is that you can't imagine every single scenario in your life to be a true crime scenario.
No, I know.
Because anything is possible at that point.
I know anything
you could justify anything at that point.
But like, can you imagine if like maybe if the scenario played out a little bit different, or maybe she did have somebody else involved? It's a crowded situation. She picked up the daughter and was like, "Oh, this is my daughter."
No, okay.
You're sitting at the wrong table.
I get that, but again, in any time in life, I feel like you could make that argument that like, oh, I get into somebody else's car, I'd be like, oh no, this guy was stealing my car, I'm stealing it back. Like that could happen at any time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a situation that happens when it happens. You can't, it's not like you can't think ahead of it. Punching the lady doesn't fix that problem. Now you get the assault charge instead of them getting in trouble. Yeah. You see the problem with that?
You're right. So,
sorry, I'm getting a little heated.
I know you are. But that's just like the point where I feel conflicted, because I feel like most women, when we're scared, we're ready to go. We go 100. Okay. We go at 100 or we're running away.
Yeah.
But
I think that's a situation where she should have ran away.
But I also agree because the extent of literally punching a random stranger in the face is almost equal as maybe you're in a restaurant, somebody touches you by mistake, and you pull out a Glock.
Yeah,
and you're like
that's the most aggressive behavior.
Yeah, you're like back up, or I'm gonna rat-tat-tat-tat.
Exactly. That's literally the most aggressive behavior that you could pick. Again, I can see where she's coming from. I can't justify her punching, but I disagree with the dad. Ultimately, I disagree with the dad. I think that the
100%,
dad,
I disagree with the dad.
the dad should have done more rather than say, oh, I had my reservations about bringing her out in public and now I really can't because I'm so ashamed. Like, no,
that was so demeaning.
You did nothing to protect anybody except for put a post on Reddit. Like, come on.
You know what? If I can think about like his mindset like this, I can think of only countless other scenarios where this possibly could have been happening and the wife just felt like she just needed to overact to compensate.
It's possible. Yeah, I mean the wife could think that she has to be the one that protects.
Yeah, because her husband's obviously not doing that.
One part where I think that the husband may have a case is I don't think that it's right to show your 6-year-old that it's okay to harm other people, even if it's you not wanting to be touched.
Yeah.
Like there's other ways of doing that. And I'm not saying that she didn't tell the other person, no, don't touch me.
Yeah.
But realistically, are we going to go from words to a punch in the face? Like we're not gonna go from like a friendly restaurant family setting into a UFC fight in like 2 seconds. Like, come on.
We're not gonna be throwing it down in a Texas Roadhouse.
And his name is John Cena.
I thought this post was really good because it's so complex in the way that I think both sides are right. Mm-hmm. But it's just, you can see how complex people are.
Yeah, I say that I can agree with a view that the husband has, but I genuinely don't think that he's right in the situation.
Yes, I meant to say that I can agree, not that they're right.
Yeah, I think that the moment that the person approached them and started to want to be physical, despite your wife and your kid not wanting to be touched, should have been a really clear indication to say, hey, we should probably go, or you should leave.
Right.
So that nothing escalates. But he didn't do anything. So that's a big yikes.
The part that really got me was like, I had some reservations about letting her go out in public while pregnant. Like, what?
At first when you read this, instead of r/relationship advice, I thought it was am I the asshole?
It sounds like it,
because
right?
if you read that section, I'm like, yeah, you are
the asshole.
You're kind of the asshole here.
It's crazy because it comes off as sexist and that you just consider women as like, oh, you shouldn't be out in public while pregnant. But then also at the same time, you worry about your daughter like that.
I wouldn't say like sexist. Like there are demeaning remarks.
Yeah.
And I'm not defending him, but he probably has his own views that we may not understand about her. She also may be a complete kook. We don't know, I'm just saying based off of this situation, he's not in the right.
But he was getting his ass roasted up in these comments.
I'm sure he was. And I mean, rightfully so. If you post something like that and I don't know, he probably needs to be shown that he wasn't in the right.
Yeah.
And he's probably not in the right for thinking the way that he is.
So I wanted to ask you to conclude this part. If I was pregnant, 8 months pregnant, and we had a 6-year-old daughter, and the lady came up, and this whole scenario was about to unfold, where she touched me, I told her I didn't want to be touched, and then she tried to pick up our daughter, what would you do?
What would I do?
Yeah.
I mean, I just say that we would leave. First of all, I was gonna joke and be like, we should worry about me being the lady and you being the dude, because you're like, ultimately that is your personality is not confrontational.
Yeah.
Right. You don't do that type of stuff.
I do stuff behind the scenes. Like whenever we're in public and I get really scared, I already have 911 dialed on my phone. That way, if anything happens, it's already on the phone.
Yeah.
It's happening. If I don't say anything, it gives them time to at least track the phone
we could be at the police station and you have 911 dialed on your phone.
You don't know.
You don't know.
Am I talking to a real police officer?
No, yes.
Or do you play one?
I'm not laying hands on somebody unless there's a reason to, is my stance on it. But I'm also not feel like I'm not going to be putting my family in danger.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You are putting them in danger by initiating the physical activity.
Oh, yeah, because here's the thing. What that lady doesn't realize, too, is that by you punching the lady, she has every reason to punch you back. Like, out of self-defense, like, straight up.
Can you imagine if, like, she punched her, right? And in retaliation, she just grabbed your daughter?
Yeah.
Well, oh, my gosh.
I know that's wrong too. I mean, that's not something to imagine because like
But you can imagine
if she did it, that would also be a crime.
Yeah.
She said, could you imagine if she did that and then like aliens came out of space, man?
Hey, that's not realistic.
That's what I'm saying. It's not realistic.
Whatever.
Okay, anyway.
The people that get it. I'm mentally prepared for every situation that happens.
Some may say that that's a mental disorder. making up scenarios in your head. You seen that meme?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, that explains something. I'm just kidding. All right.
You read yours.
Okay, my turn?
Yeah.
So mine comes from R. Am I the asshole?
Yeah.
Good. Am I the asshole because I forced my daughter to leave the house to go to college?
Ooh.
For the past few years, my daughter, female, 17, has been extremely depressed and has been having huge anxiety attacks whenever she leaves the house. She hasn't been diagnosed with anything, but we are going through autism assessments and ADHD ones too. It's been difficult on her with all the appointments, and I understand how she feels, though she has always says I'm not listening to her and I'm too harsh when I make her do things. Edit, she was sent to the medical professionals last year to test for BPD, bipolar disorder, but it was a waste of time as they can't diagnose until she's 18.
Oh.
3 days ago, she had a meeting with her teacher at college to do some college work as she finds it difficult to concentrate in class, so this meeting was set up to be very helpful for her. She woke up on the day an hour before the meeting and was angry about the fact that she had to leave. I gave her two options. I said she either went to the meetup or she stays at home and she gets kicked out of college. She has already had 4 chances at this college and has been kicked out 2 before, so nobody else would take her. She can't get a job either from intense anxiety or this huge fear of leaving the house. My partner took her to college and she didn't speak to her in the car. Then she got out, she called her names I can't repeat, and I said I shouldn't have made her go because she was too anxious and hates going. Also, it being Easter holidays and it wasn't natural to go during them. She went in and finished her meeting about an hour later. She got home and it was perfectly fine. Though my partner says that maybe I should have let her have it off today and worked something out with the teacher. My partner says that she could have been having an episode and I shouldn't have had said anything because it's not our daughter's fault. She can't deal with emotions well. I don't agree, but does that make me the asshole? I thought that's a good one because first of all, for anybody that grew up in an Asian household, you know,
it's either you do or you die. You fucking die.
Yeah, you don't get a no.
You don't get 4 chances.
Yeah,
you only
don't
have one
get
chance.
4 chances. Yeah. I have a tough time. So my truest opinion on this issue with panic attacks and anxiety is honestly, they happen, but I feel that they are controllable first. Second of all, if she's seen medical professionals, if it's that bad,
it sounds like it,
which it sounds like it, the medical professionals may have said something, you know, like that it was clearly something.
Right.
And I'm not trying to dismiss that she may or may not have these issues, but it sounds to me more that the urge of not wanting to do something or the urge of making a decision is so heavy that she would just rather not have them. And that those emotions are what's bearing her down rather than them being actual problems themselves. So the way that I see it, I don't think that this mom is an asshole. I agree with the decision because like she said, she went to it and was fine. So it just seems to me like, oh, okay, I was too worried about the problem. The problem took over like my emotions and my physical ability to handle it. And I was so stressed out that I just didn't want to leave the house. That's the way that I read it.
That's the way that it sounds to me too. And I am of the opinion that the mom is also, or the parent is not the asshole, but I recognize that I was also trying to gauge like, okay, so she's not the asshole, but does she genuinely care about, you know, her daughter's emotional state of being and like how this is affecting her? And I think, because she's taking the time to, as early before 17, right?
17. Yeah.
17 to like go through all of these assessments and medical things or whatever, because imagine if she just didn't get that kind of help, is in college and is struggling by herself, she would not know what to do.
Right.
So by the mom or the parent going in to help her figure out, oh, maybe this is a root cause, that could help her set her up for college and to self-manage. Yeah,
and this might be a little bit of a hot take, but you're going in after or during non-class hours with a teacher to do college work to help you with your situation. What more can you ask for? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, like for the daughter?
Yeah, like this, like you're missing your normal class because you can't focus in class.
Yeah.
So everybody understood that. Then you get the opportunity to go in at a different time where it's better for you to do it, and then you don't even want to do that.
Right.
You know, like that.
So-
there's only so much, in my opinion, that somebody could help you before it's
Yeah.
your fault. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not trying to say it is your fault, but you know, as much as people are cutting you slack, you should cut them some slack.
Yeah. There's like something I always think to myself about too when you work with other people or you interact with other people that might have anxiety or things like that. People with like a lot of anxiety, or maybe you face a lot of hardship, you have to realize that yes, your feelings are valid in how you come to your reality, how you face your hardships, but you should not let those feelings translate into how you treat other people.
Or how other people should treat you.
Right, because on the basis of human to human interaction, nobody will ever understand how you feel on the inside unless you actually voice these things. But even then, they can only empathize with you with it.
If they're even willing to.
If they're even willing to.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like off the tangent of like the snowflake behavior. I don't think this is snowflake behavior, but there's going to be a lot of people that hear this and be like, oh my gosh, the mom is totally an asshole, because obviously this girl has crippling anxiety and there's a lot of other ways to handle this.
There are always two views to the situation.
Yeah.
And I get that, but also trying to see it from the daughter's perspective. My honest opinion is this: the world is actually very harsh. Okay.
Yeah.
It does you no good to allow it to roll you over despite your disabilities. And it makes it a lot worse when, yes, you do have crippling anxiety, but you never face those issues head on.
Yeah.
Like the mom said, she went to that meeting. It was an hour long. She came back and it was perfectly fine. I'm not saying that that's going to happen every single time.
Yeah.
But imagine if she didn't go. Like her partner tried to understand it from the other perspective and was just like, oh yeah, or maybe you shouldn't have let her go. But realistically, what does that achieve?
Right.
Isn't that just really feeding the issue?
Yes.
Like at the end of the day, yeah, you sometimes you do need days off.
Yeah.
But I think that at some point you've given yourself that time off, because in this situation you've already failed out of it 4 times.
Yeah.
And this is your only second. Like not everybody gets second chances, you know what I'm saying?
And you got 4.
Yeah. Oh.
It's really frustrating to me too. But if I was the mom and I noticed that she came back okay, that would have been a really good time to talk to her and be like, hey, I know you feel the way that you feel and that you were really worried, you know, leading up to the meeting, but the way that you acted towards my partner was not justified.
Nah.
And
I disagree with that.
really?
I totally disagree with that. My issue with it is that if you're dealing with somebody who either has issues or does not have issues, like I'm talking issues as an actual disability.
Oh, like,
Yeah.
okay.
Regardless of the situation, I feel like you saying something like that puts them in a very defensive position. I feel like that's a very accusatory thing to do.
Well, let me finish.
Okay.
So I was going to say that wasn't right, that you were acting really rude to her, but I wanted you to know that like when you came back, you're okay. So I want you to remember that, you know, even when you feel scared, know that at the end, like it's going to be okay. Like it's going to be okay, because you have to realize you're just meeting with this person. Nothing bad is going to happen. I'm glad you left the house, but I want you to feel comfortable knowing that after the fact you were able to do this.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I think that even making it a teaching moment would piss them off. Like, okay. I'm imagining a teenage version of me, okay? Where I was a fairly rebellious kid. Okay. And I absolutely did not like the typical like Asian nagging.
Okay.
And I had many people do that to me, okay? It didn't matter who it came from. If I had done something and a teaching moment came out of it, man, you will bet your ass that I will never do that for the next 6 months.
Oh
like,
my God.
no, I swear. Not like, and here's the thing. If I was the mom here, the other I'm giving an alternative, okay? I'm not just saying like that's a shit idea. The alternative of that would have been, as the mom, I would have said, hey, I'm really proud of you for doing that. That's it. Just a simple praise, just to be like, hey, good job, you did that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that that's enough.
The only reason why I said what I said is because I feel that if a child has a lot of anxiety or is lashing out in some sort of way, it's kind of tells me that they feel something that is not being heard. So I would want to give them the opportunity to tell them how they feel, and I want them to be able to feel comfortable telling me that, so that we would be able to work through something together. But I also would say that I would highlight that I was proud of them for being able to leave the house and then coming back and asking them, oh, so how do you feel after that meeting? Not just making that observation and not saying anything at all. Because not highlighting that, yeah, it could be annoying that is a teaching moment, but I think it really helps reinforce the confidence that you were able to face this on your own and you came back okay.
That's tough because I don't want to say it as if they are a fragile person.
They sound like a fragile person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying is that you making it a teaching moment is already walking on eggshells. I feel like a simple praise, like when you're already lost, and no offense to the mom, if you're on Reddit looking for advice,
Yeah.
you're already telling me that you have no clue.
You're like at your wit's end.
Yeah,
already.
you're at your wit's end about this situation. You're probably pulling your hair out about this and probably very upset about it, right?
Yeah.
So baby steps, I feel like, is the best way to go. If you just start off with a simple praise and then the next time that they do something, maybe you can test the water and put in like a, hey, but maybe next time do this.
I grew up having the simple praise and I felt like that was very emotionally detached. In my opinion, I felt that way.
What would your alternative have been? What would you have liked?
I would have just liked what I said. If you told me if I did anything wrong, what I did right, that way I would be able to formulate my own opinions later. And it's tough to say too because we don't know if this girl actually has some sort of disorder that is causing her to feel how she's feeling. So I feel like my opinion's just based on the fact that I grew up on Asian parenting and I would just like more communication.
Coming from a household where the communication was bad, but we got communication.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that it's probably better that you are left to your own devices because you're thinking as opposed to being told how to think.
Right.
So I don't know.
It's tough.
It's tough. Because I think the situation is so fragile. I would leave it as a praise and then maybe consider the next time either making
Like
it
talking more.
Yeah, talking a little bit more. I would just say like an extra sentence. You kind of push it and you test and see what triggers them type of deal. Because you could say too much on that first time and then they never want to talk to you. Then you start over.
That's so tough.
Square one.
Because I totally see what you mean too. I've gone to friends' houses where their parents talk to them so nicely.
Oh no.
I'm like, wow, what does that feel like?
But that's also bad.
It can be bad.
I want the real of it. I don't want to be sheltered, but I also don't want the typical like if I don't want to be yelled at for something that I didn't do wrong.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
What I mean is like their parents are firm but supportive is what I mean.
Oh yeah, that's different. That's not nice. That's different.
Okay, our definition of nice is different. Okay?
Yeah.
My parents grew up telling me I was an asshole or something. But then we have somebody's parents, like I'd go over to a friend's house and they'd be like, I saw like your grades weren't doing so good. Maybe we can talk it out. You know, something like that.
That's just good parenting. That's not nice. I'm thinking nice like, oh, Johnny, you beat me yesterday and let's not do that again, okay?
No.
Like, no, that's a little too nice.
No, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. How would I describe it? They're not afraid to fucking give it to you, but they're also like, but I'm gonna be sitting right next to you at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But my parents, they're gonna give it to me and they're gonna keep giving it to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, we love that.
So when I read this story too, the Asian side of me was like,
Give it
this
to
is
him.
gonna be your fourth time. And this is gonna be your fucking last time. You're anxious? I'm gonna give you something more anxious to be about.
That's the most that's the most typical Asian thing to say.
But okay, that's just the funny, hee ha ha,
Sure.
hee ha ha. But in real life, hey, let's just talk about it.
In the back of your mind, you're like,
how are you feeling?
I'm gonna give you something to have anxiety. The next time you see my hand come up, that's anxiety for you.
You better fucking flinch.
Man.
But part of me is also like, what triggered her to be so scared of going outside? Like, I wonder if like something happened.
But see, that's where I think
Yeah.
she needs to go to counseling.
Yeah.
Maybe not medical professionals,
Yeah.
to counseling.
Yeah, we don't know all the backstory,
Yeah.
but let's say it just happened out of the blue. She just was like, I just like sitting inside, living rent free. I would have been like,
You better get your ass
you
up.
better get your fucking ass out of this house.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, we drove to like all these medical professionals, found out we couldn't do anything until you're 18. I would have been like, go get your ass a fucking job.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part is if you deal with somebody that actually has like an entitlement issue like that, that's very hard to reverse.
That's something
You leave for the streets.
I thought about this when I think about like today's generation. There is like some sort of level of entitlement. I don't know what it is. And I don't know if that same attitude applies to this daughter, but I feel like kids now are just so entitled to have everything given to them because there is a level of instant gratification with all sorts of media.
Yeah.
And there's just a level of convenience that's just already there. Any extra steps feels like it's impossible.
Yeah.
Like an impossible task.
No, actually, I agree with that. But I did read an article about, it's like a perspective that it's not necessarily an entitlement issue. It's just a way that they think about things. But it's not right or wrong. So it works for some people. It doesn't work for some people. And it's also kind of ties with social media because there's so much of the idea that you can do quote unquote so little work to like post a small video on TikTok and then like be internet famous.
Be like Charlie D'Amelio tomorrow.
Yeah. And just to be real with a lot of y'all, you won't. That's the
7 million people
truth
on this earth.
Yeah.
You think all of us can be Kardashians?
Right. That's the honest truth. But I think that there's a level of maturity that it takes for somebody to understand that.
You can do whatever you want for the hee hee ha ha. But I don't know. Like I feel like such a boomer even thinking about it, about how different we are to the kids under us, the generation under us.
That's how it be. You're getting old, you know what I'm saying?
These days will not know what landline phone is.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, we didn't know what riding on horseback was like.
I rode a horse.
It's not the same.
I can imagine it's the same.
Okay. All right, boomer.
I was around when the first iPhone came out.
Okay. We're going to move on now.
After that, I was looking at some more Ask Reddit questions, and I just saw 2 that I wanted to ask you because I thought they were funny.
Sure.
So the first one is, what is the weirdest thing your partner does that you just accepted?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just a normal girl.
Not normal, but
I'm just a girl.
I'm just a girl.
Yeah.
In the world.
Sometimes you sleep with your eyes like half open.
Oh, wow. I guess I didn't even think about that. And it's true.
First time it happened, we were cuddling and I look up and it's like half open. I thought you were watching TV. So I was like, babe, you didn't say anything. And then over your face, I went, I waved my hand and I was like, holy shit, this motherfucker's asleep.
Pirate, I always gotta be ready.
Yeah, one eye open.
Keep an eye on my booty.
Oh, okay.
The weirdest thing that you do that I just accept is how out of touch you are with current culture, pop culture, the news.
Elaborate.
I mean, there's a lot.
Elaborate.
There are a lot of things that you have never done that I'm just like, it doesn't surprise me anymore.
Yeah. What is the one thing that I've never done that surprised you the most?
Ordered steak at a steakhouse.
I always order chicken or fish.
That doesn't make sense.
I grew up because
fish is fine, but why would you order chicken tenders at a steakhouse?
When I grew up, my mom always had the opinion that steak was just a man's food. A woman doesn't need to be eating food that's so hearty like that. So she always ate like fish or chicken because she's like, oh, that's just enough for me and I like it. So I just did whatever my mom did.
Interesting.
Yeah. The next question is, which is one thing you don't think you'll ever do again?
I have a rule that I'll always try something twice. Because the first time that you do something, you may not have had a good experience on it. So I always try something twice. Now I'm trying to think about if there's something that I tried twice that didn't go well. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going to do this again.
I'm trying to think of one too.
I'm not going to say that it's a hard never, but I rode Big Thunder Mountain. It was fun. Will I ride it again? I don't know.
I know one thing you never do again.
What?
Eat silkworms.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I mean, I may nibble on it, but it's never going to be a meal. That's
meal.
nasty. No,
it's
that's not a meal.
Wait, so you said you would never ride Big Thunder Mountain?
No, I said I didn't say never. I'm just saying that's the only one that I could think of.
I see. What would I never do again?
I don't know.
I do a lot. I'm pretty reckless.
Yeah. I've never smoked a cigarette before.
Yeah.
But I would know that I'll never smoke a cigarette.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would probably never smoke again. I would never want to live in a dorm again. Or any community style living, like an apartment.
You're right. I would
apartment
where the walls are shared.
Yeah, any place where the walls are shared.
Because I'm thinking about like, okay, what if you got a nice studio penthouse?
I would have to be on the top floor.
Okay, it's not like you would never do it.
I guess.
But yeah, I don't think that I would ever really rent again.
No, I just
not unless it was a really good incentive to.
I guess,
like if it was cheaper than owning, and not if it meant that I had to share in a community with other people.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Enjoy the peace of having a home.
Oh, I know. I will never live in a place where I have to go to a laundromat or a shared Washer dryer
Oh, be
unit.
still my beating heart. I will never do that again.
Yep, there's my answer.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that is my concrete answer. I
That's
will
my
never,
boomer answer.
never
I like my
do that
laundry
again.
done.
The worst part is when you're like in some dinky laundromat place and it's just you and one other person. No matter what, every laundromat place just looks like a horror movie.
Yeah, no matter the time that you do
scary.
it too.
Yeah.
It's always creepy.
It's scary.
We're going to switch over to playing the couples game. Answer a question or so here and there. All right, so this first question is best. In one word, what was your first impression of me?
Oh.
You say all,
You
but
strike-
you don't know if it's even an all word.
Oh, I mean, you struck me as a very goody two-shoes boy.
Goody two shoes.
Yeah.
All right.
When I saw your Tinder, it's specifically the one where you're wearing those brown shorts and you're taking the photo, like the photo you took of yourself. Was it in a field or was it in a park? The background was blurred, but you were wearing that red.
park.
Yeah, you were wearing that red baseball shirt with the tan shorts. When I saw the tan shorts, I was like, you look like a cargo shorts boy.
That's funny because I didn't ever own cargo shorts.
I was like, you look like a cute little boy.
Wow.
You're gonna put like pens in your pockets. I don't know. You pick up a cute rock or something, you put it in your pocket.
You know what's really funny? You are the trash collector. You're the one that picks up random shit off the ground and puts it in your pocket.
Hey, to clarify, when I pick up random shit, it's actually money off the ground. Okay?
Except for when it's trash.
No, I don't pick up trash off the ground.
Why do you think we call you Trash Panda?
You call me Trash Panda.
Yeah, because you put wrappers and shit in your clothes.
Yeah, but I don't pick it up off the ground. It's when we eat something and we don't have access to a trash can.
Nope.
I put it in my pocket so we don't
Even
litter.
when we have access to a trash can, you forget about it in your pocket. And literally everywhere else that you put it.
I just don't want to litter.
Moving on.
Okay, if we were Greek gods, what would we each be the god of?
Oh, you give me a very god of nature.
Oh,
Yeah, because you're very free-spirited.
natural.
The Lulu Lala.
I am not Delulu.
Mhm. Keep thinking that.
So here's the thing about Greek gods. Like, no matter how bad of a quality you try to find a Greek god, they all just look...
You're trying to find a terrible quality for me?
Yeah, I
Wow,
am.
okay. So I was trying to find one that was like free spirit, but it didn't really have one. So the closest one is Demeter. Demeter was a goddess of nature and fertility. Congrats.
I was looking up what is the goofiest Greek god. And
Why would I be a goofy one?
you're just goofy. And what came up was Dionysius.
Oh, yeah.
But Dionysius
Yeah, he's
isn't...
a pretty dope Greek god.
He is, because he is the god of festivities
Yeah.
and celebration.
Yeah, that's me.
And I'm like,
I'm the life of the party. When I
Yeah,
walk in,
yeah.
I am literally the party. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Dionysus.
Dionysus.
Wine and revelry.
Yeah, you are a wine connoisseur.
Nice. I'll take it.
He said a win.
So let us know if you all were to be Greek gods and goddesses.
True.
What would you be? What do you think we would be? Do you think that ours was fitting? If not, let us know.
It's true.
That's all that we have for Pillow Talk today. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this special Reddit rabbit hole that we've dug ourselves into. If you agreed with us, let us know. If you don't, let us know. We don't really care. But I do still want to hear what you got to say.
If you have ever been a victim of Asian parenting, blink twice. And our question will be, did you blink once? Or no, how many times did you blink? 1, 2, or 3? If you answered twice, we know you're a victim and we see you.
Yeah. Can't do anything about it, but we see you.
We see you. The only thing we can do is also blink twice.
Ah, yes. We hear you. We see you. You are validated
Through blink.
through blinking. Anyway, thank you again for hanging out with us. We'll see you all next time.